Los Angeles, 1967. A small training hall tucked behind a row of quiet storefronts. No cameras, no press, just sweat in the air and the sound of bare feet sliding across wooden floors. Bruce Lee is teaching, not performing, not showing off, teaching. He moves slowly today, deliberately breaking techniques down to their smallest pieces. Timing, distance, reaction. He keeps repeating one sentence until it sinks in. Speed is not how fast you move. Speed is how fast you decide. Around him, students watch in total focus. Some are actors. Some are martial artists. A few are skeptics who came only because they heard rumors. Rumors that Bruce Lee is too fast. That the speed is camera tricks, editing, illusion. And that's when the door opens. The room shifts. A man steps inside with the posture of someone who's never doubted himself. Broad shoulders, sharp jaw, the confidence of a champion who has won more fights than he's lost. A famous karate champion known nationally. Magazine covers, trophies, reputation. He doesn't bow. He doesn't apologize for interrupting. He watches Bruce for a few seconds, arms crossed, then lets out a short laugh. So this is him, he says. The fast one. The students freeze. Bruce turns calmly, eyes relaxed, expression neutral. The champion steps forward. I've seen the clips, he continues. You look fast, but camera speed isn't real speed. He smirks. In real combat, he's not faster than me. You can feel it. The air tightening, the quiet tension crawling up the walls. Someone shifts their weight. Another student glances at Bruce, waiting for a reaction. Bruce Lee doesn't raise his voice, doesn't argue, doesn't defend himself. He simply asks one question. How do you measure speed? The champion laughs again. By who lands first. Bruce nods slowly. Then watch closely. He steps forward, not into a stance, not into a pose, just one relaxed step. His hands hang loose at his sides. Calm. Almost casual. The champion's smile fades just a little. He doesn't realize it yet. But something is about to happen that will follow him for the rest of his career. And everyone in that room is about to understand the difference between believing you're fast and actually being fast. The karate champion rolls his neck like he's warming up for a photo shoot. All right, he says, loud enough for everyone to hear. Let's make this simple. You say you're fast. Prove it. A few students exchange looks. Some are excited. Some are nervous, because they've seen Bruce move and they know what's coming. But they've never seen it aimed at someone with this much confidence. Bruce stays calm. He gestures to the center of the room. No sparring, he says. No ego. Just a test. The champion grins. A test? For who? For both of us, Bruce replies. That answer lands strange. Humble, but also dangerous. Bruce points to the champion's chest. Put your hand here, he says, tapping his own sternum. Flat palm. The champion laughs like it's an insult. You want me to touch you? Yes. He does it. Palm on Bruce's chest, fingers spread. The contact is light at first. Then the champion presses harder, like he's trying to assert dominance through simple pressure. Bruce doesn't flinch. Now Bruce raises his own hand, open palm, relaxed. He positions it 1 inch away from the champion's chest. 1 inch? The champion scoffs. That's not a strike. Bruce nods. That's why it works. The room goes silent. Even breathing sounds loud. Bruce looks at the champion's eyes. When you feel it, Bruce says, don't fake it. Don't act tough. Just tell the truth. The champion smirks. Hit me. Bruce exhales. His body doesn't wind up. No shoulder pullback. No dramatic motion. No signal for the brain to catch. It's like nothing happens until everything happens. A sharp crack fills the room. Not loud like a slap, but dense like impact. The champion's eyes widen. His breath blasts out in one forced burst. His feet slide back half a step before he can control it. He stares at Bruce, confused, offended, shocked. Bruce's hand is already back at his side, relaxed again. That Bruce says softly, is speed. The champion's students, if he has any, would have called it impossible. A punch from 1 inch shouldn't move a grown man like that. Not without momentum. Not without a run-up. But the champion felt it. And feeling something is different than hearing about it. He swallows, trying to hide the fact that his chest is still vibrating. That was a trick, he mutters. Bruce tilts his head slightly. Okay, Bruce says. Then try to stop it. And the champion realizes too late. This isn't about who's tougher. This is about who understands timing before it arrives. The karate champion steps back, rolling his shoulders again, but this time the confidence is forced. Something in his chest still feels off, like his breath hasn't fully decided to come back the right way. Again, he says, louder, sharper. This time I'll react. Bruce nods. Good. The champion raises his hands, eyes locked on Bruce's shoulders, watching for any twitch, any signal. He's trained for years to read movement, to explode forward the instant something starts. Bruce stands completely still. No stance, no tension, no warning. Whenever you're ready, Bruce says. The champion inhales and focuses harder than he ever has. His mind races shoulders, hips, hands. Watch the hands. Bruce confirms none of it. The punch doesn't come from where the champion expects. It doesn't even come as a punch in the traditional sense. Bruce's body compresses for a fraction of a second, so small it barely registers, and then releases. Impact. Not loud. Not dramatic. But undeniable. The champion's reaction is instant and involuntary. His torso jerks back, feet sliding on the wooden floor. His arms drop as his body prioritizes survival over pride. Air leaves his lungs again, harsher this time. A student near the wall gasps. The champion stumbles, catches himself, and raises a hand. Wait! The room freezes. Bruce stops immediately, already relaxed again, as if nothing happened. Silence stretches. Thick, uncomfortable. The champion looks around, searching faces, trying to regain control of the narrative. He forces a laugh that doesn't convince anyone. That shouldn't work, he says. Bruce meets his eyes. But it did. The champion opens his mouth to argue, then closes it. Because the problem isn't Bruce's explanation. The problem is that his own body already answered the question. He nods slowly, finally honest. I didn't see it. Bruce replies calmly. That's why speed isn't about moving fast. It's about removing everything slow. The champion exhales, long and controlled. For the first time since entering the room, his posture softens. And everyone watching understands something important just shifted. This isn't a challenge anymore. It's a lesson. The karate champion lowers his hands, not in surrender, but in recalibration. The room feels different now. Less like a classroom, more like a quiet court where a verdict has already been delivered. I trained my whole life to be faster, he says, voice steady but changed. Road work, pads, sparring, reaction drills. I thought speed was conditioning. Bruce listens without interrupting. Conditioning matters, Bruce says, but conditioning amplifies what's already there. It doesn't replace understanding. The champion nods, absorbing it. Then what am I missing? Bruce gestures to the space between them. You're chasing the moment after the decision. I'm living in the moment before it. A student shifts against the wall, trying to see better. Another leans forward, elbows on knees. No one checks a watch. Bruce asks the champion to extend his hand again. This time, Bruce doesn't strike. He simply moves half an inch. The champion flinches anyway, reflex firing before thought. Bruce stops. You reacted to the idea of movement, he says. Not the movement itself. The champion exhales sharply. So you're faster because you make people move first. Bruce smiles faintly. I make them decide first. He steps back and invites the champion to try. Move me, Bruce says. Any way you like. The champion steps in, careful now, testing distance. He reaches, then hesitates, then reaches again. Nothing lands. Bruce is there, then not there, then there again. Close enough to matter. Far enough to be safe. After a few attempts, the champion drops his hands. I can't find you, he admits. Bruce nods. Because you're looking for speed. You should be looking for space. The champion looks around at the students, at the quiet, at the absence of applause. He bows his head slightly, not for show, for truth. I was wrong, he says. About you. About speed. Bruce returns the nod. Good, he says. That's when learning starts. The lesson continues, but the argument has ended. And everyone in the room knows it. The champion steps to the side, rubbing his chest lightly, not in pain but in disbelief. His breathing is steady now, but his certainty is gone. That's the real impact, not the strike, the realization. I always thought speed was muscle memory, he says. You drill it until it's automatic. Bruce nods. Automatic is still slow if it waits for permission. The students exchange looks. A few of them write that sentence down immediately. Bruce continues, pacing slowly as he speaks. Most fighters train to react. Reaction means you're already behind. I train to intercept intention. The champion looks up sharply. Intention. Yes, Bruce says. Before the body moves, the mind commits. Shoulders tighten. Breath changes. Weight shifts. That's where speed lives. He stops in front of the champion. Close enough to feel presence again. But this time there's no tension. Only attention. Show me your fastest punch, Bruce says. The champion nods and fires a sharp, clean strike into the air. Technically excellent. Fast. Crisp. The kind of punch that wins tournaments. Bruce doesn't comment. Again, Bruce says. The second punch is even faster. Bruce smiles slightly. Now watch. He steps in not to strike but to arrive. His hand stops an inch from the champion's chest before the champion realizes Bruce moved at all. Gasps ripple through the room. Bruce withdraws his hand. You see? I didn't beat your speed. I arrived earlier. The champion closes his eyes briefly. When he opens them, there's no ego left to defend. So speed isn't about being first, he says quietly. Bruce shakes his head. It's about being unavoidable. That sentence lands harder than the punches. The champion turns to the students behind him. Pay attention, he says. This is what real speed looks like. Bruce steps back and nods, letting the room breathe again. The lesson isn't finished, but the doubt is gone. And something else has taken its place. Respect. The room settles into a deeper kind of quiet, the kind that comes after a belief collapses and something more solid takes its place. The champion takes a seat against the wall, not because he's tired, but because standing feels unnecessary now. He watches Bruce move among the students, correcting posture with a fingertip, adjusting distance with a step that barely looks like movement. You're not faster than us, the champion says after a moment. You're earlier. Bruce stops, turns, considers the wording. Yes, he says. Earlier is faster than fast. He asks two students to stand opposite each other. Don't touch, Bruce instructs. Just decide known actions. They face off, hesitant. Bruce circles them slowly. Most fights are decided before contact, he explains. Once you commit, you reveal yourself. He steps between them, points to one student's shoulder. Here, you told him everything with this. The student looks confused. I didn't move. Bruce nods. Exactly. The champion leans forward. That's what I missed. I was watching hands. Hands are late, Bruce replies. The body whispers before it shouts. Bruce asks the champion to stand again. No challenge now, just cooperation. He demonstrates the 1-inch punch once more. Slower, controlled, stopping just short. The air compresses. Everyone feels it. Power, Bruce says, is alignment plus timing. Speed is the absence of waste. The champion exhales, long and steady. I trained for years to add speed, he says. You trained to remove delay. Bruce smiles faintly. That's the work. A student asks, can anyone learn this? Bruce answers honestly. Anyone can start. Few are willing to stop lying to themselves long enough to finish. The champion nods, eyes fixed on the floor. He's not ashamed. He's recalculating. Because when speed stops being a race, it becomes a decision. And decisions, once seen clearly, can't be unseen. The champion stands again, this time without announcement, without posture. Just a man standing where he is. I used to think hesitation was weakness, he says. Now I think it's ignorance pretending to be confidence. Bruce listens, arms relaxed at his sides. Hesitation, Bruce replies, is only dangerous when you don't know why you're hesitating. He walks to the center of the room and asks everyone to step back. Not because he needs space, but because clarity does. Speed, Bruce says, is not rushing. Rushing is panic with momentum. He demonstrates with a student no strike, just movement. A half step, a pause, another half step. The student flinches anyway. See, Bruce says, your body reacts to meaning, not motion. The champion watches closely now, eyes sharp but quiet. He notices the details he once ignored. Bruce's breathing stays smooth. His shoulders never tense. His feet remain ready without rooting. This isn't about reflexes, the champion says slowly. It's about choice. Bruce nods. Reflex is borrowed time. Choice is owned. A murmur of agreement moves through the students. One of them whispers, I felt that. Bruce turns to the champion again. You said I wasn't faster than you, Bruce says gently. That may still be true on a stopwatch. The champion almost smiles. But combat, Bruce continues, doesn't use stopwatches. He asks the champion to try one last time. Not to strike, not to block, just to say when Bruce will move. Bruce stands still. The room holds its breath. The champion points. Now. Bruce hasn't moved. The champion points again. Now. Still nothing. Then Bruce steps so simply it feels unfair. The champion blinks. I didn't. Bruce finishes the sentence for him. You decided after it was already over. The champion bows his head. Not to Bruce. To the lesson. And in that bow everyone sees it. Speed was never the argument. Awareness was. The room exhales together, like a single body releasing tension it didn't know it was holding. The champion straightens, slower now, deliberate. All these years, he says, I thought speed was something you owned, like a gift, like talent. Bruce walks past him, speaking without turning. Speed is borrowed from understanding, he says. When understanding leaves, speed disappears with it. The champion watches Bruce demonstrate again, this time with no strike at all. Bruce steps into range, pauses, then steps out. Nothing dramatic, yet every student feels it. The pressure, the inevitability. You didn't rush, the champion says. You waited. Bruce nods. Waiting isn't passive. It's listening. A student asks quietly, listening to what? Bruce answers, to intention. Everyone announces themselves. They just don't know they're speaking. The champion smiles faintly. I was shouting. A few students laugh softly but not mockingly. Recognition lives in the room now. Bruce gestures for the class to continue. Train, he says, but don't collect techniques. Remove them. See what's left. The champion steps aside, no longer the center of attention, and strangely relieved by it. He feels lighter, like something unnecessary finally fell away. As the session resumes, he watches Bruce correct students with minimal words, minimal movement. Nothing wasted, nothing extra. The champion understands now why the rumors were wrong. Why people argued online. Why footage never told the truth. You can't film timing. You can't edit awareness. You can't fake inevitability. When the class ends, the champion approaches Bruce one last time. I said you weren't faster than me, he says quietly. Bruce looks at him. The champion continues, I was wrong. You're not faster. You're earlier. Bruce smiles, not proudly, gratefully. That's enough, he says. And the champion realizes something that will follow him long after today. Being proven wrong didn't weaken him, cleared him. After the session, the room empties slowly. No one rushes. Conversations are quieter, more careful. The kind of quiet that comes when people are rearranging ideas inside themselves. The champion lingers near the doorway, watching Bruce gather his notes. He hesitates, then speaks. "I've beaten faster men," he says. "Stronger men too. But I've never felt late before." Bruce looks up. "Late is uncomfortable," he says. "That's why most people deny it." The champion nods. "I did. For years." He pauses, then asks the question that matters. "How do you train this?" Not the punch. The earlier part. Bruce thinks for a moment. "You stop trying to win exchanges," he says. "You start trying to understand beginnings." "Beginnings of what?" "Of decisions," Bruce replies. "Of fear. Of commitment. The body follows what the mind already agreed to." They stand there a moment, the noise of the street drifting in through an open window, cars passing, life moving on. "I came here to prove something," the champion admits. "Instead, I lost an argument I didn't know I was having." Bruce smiles faintly. "Those are the best ones to lose." The champion laughs, short and honest. "People will ask what happened here." Bruce shrugs. "Tell them you learned something. And if they want details?" Bruce picks up his bag. "Tell them details don't matter. Timing does." The champion watches him walk away, posture unchanged, presence still heavy without effort. No celebration, no victory lap, just clarity. Later that night, the champion stands alone in his own gym, staring at his reflection. He throws a punch, fast, sharp, and stops it inches from the mirror. For the first time, he notices what came before it. The shift, the breath, the tell. He lowers his hand, smiling to himself. Tomorrow, his students will train the same techniques, but the questions will be different, and he knows exactly where that change began. Years later, when people talk about that day, they don't agree on the details. Some say it was a challenge. Some say it was a demonstration. Some say it was just another rumor exaggerated over time. The champion knows better, because what stayed with him wasn't the punch. It wasn't the speed. It wasn't even the shock of being wrong. It was the moment before. The moment where he realized his certainty arrived too late. Bruce Lee never claimed superiority. Never said his style was better. Never demanded acknowledgement. He simply revealed a gap quietly, precisely, and let the truth do the rest. That's why the lesson lasted. In the years that followed, the champion taught differently. He stopped telling students to be faster. He started telling them to be earlier, to listen for intention, to notice what happens before movement becomes visible. And every time a student said, "I'm fast," he smiled, because he remembered saying the same thing once. He remembered standing in that room, confident and certain, until certainty failed him. Bruce Lee didn't defeat him. He didn't embarrass him. He repositioned him. That's the kind of influence cameras can't capture. That's why the story survived without footage. Because real mastery doesn't leave bruises, it leaves questions. And once you start asking the right ones, you never move the same way again. Bruce Lee walked out of that room exactly as he walked in, calm, centered, uninterested in winning arguments. The champion stayed behind, changed, not because he lost speed, but because he discovered something faster.